Hello, welcome back to Life's Tapestry. I'm Mohammad Haris and I'm joined by my co-host Fiza Alam. Today we are going to talk to Mr. Rafiuzzaman Siddiqui. Mr. Rafiuzzaman Siddiqui is a retired diplomat and he has served Pakistan in several countries in the Europe, Middle East, Africa, and his last posting was as Pakistan's ambassador to Bangladesh. He has also served as Pakistan's permanent representative to UNEP and UN Habitat. Currently, he's working as an advisor with the government of Sindh. He also belongs to a family that has played an important role in Pakistan's foundation and Pakistan's history. So we are very excited to talk to him about his family roots and his family history, his experiences as Pakistan's ambassador in so many countries, and his passion for art and music.
Okay, so let's welcome Rafi Saab onto the show. We are very excited to have this conversation with you. How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine.
This is great. We're so excited to have you on board. Haris has told me so much about you. He used to tell me that you frequented T2F. What a nice community space, no?
It is indeed, but it's been really long that I haven't gone there. In fact, I've just returned from my trip abroad. I was in England and I was in Dubai, in London. I was in England for my son's graduation. So I've just returned about 3 weeks back, and now I'm in Karachi.
Oh, amazing. Mashallah. This is so nice to hear. Yeah, I think we have also not been to T2F in a while. So, also
Okay.
missing that vibe for a bit, no?
Yeah, true. So yeah, we actually met. I met Mr. Rafi at one of their Qawwali mahfils, and that was like a long time ago. I think it was
Oh,
in
2022.
2020. It was pre-COVID, so I mean think about it. It was like a long time ago. I think I was in my first year back then.
yeah, it was 2020, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly. I think it was like just a few months before COVID and everything. So yes, that's why we also didn't meet after like a long time then.
Yes. That was probably the first and the last time I met you,
In person,
Haris.
yes. Yes, that's true. Yeah, I think COVID happened, um, and then I mean, like whenever I check with you, you'd mostly be like in London. I think you go to Dubai a lot too.
Yeah.
So we didn't really get the chance to meet again. Yeah, but it's great to have you here on this podcast with us.
Okay.
Um,
Thank you. Thank you very
I
much.
I think we can start with what we have kind of planned to discuss. So what we have in mind is that we'll start from the very beginning. So if you can just tell us a bit about, how your childhood was and like what are some of the earliest memories of home and family life for you.
Okay. Okay, Haris, my family basically originally came from India, from Lucknow, and we settled down. You might have heard of my grandfather, who was like one of the leading he was one of the founding fathers of Pakistan, and he was the one who had seconded the resolution of Pakistan in 1914 Lahore. His name was Chaudhry Khaliquzzama. So
Hmm.
I am his grandson. And when we migrated from India, we settled down in Larkana. My grandfather had two wives. We are from his first wife. My grandfather moved to Karachi after a couple of months because Qaeda-e-Azam asked him to come to Karachi, and he was the first president of Pakistan Muslim League, while we stayed on in Larkana. So I was born and brought up in Larkana. I had my early education. Fortunately, we had a very nice convent school in Larkana. Otherwise, there was all government schools and very basic education. But We were lucky to have this missionary school in Larkana where I uh, studied from class 1 to class 8. And then I went to a government school, which was like, in those times, even government schools were not bad. And it was Urdu medium. तो हमारे लिए तो एक ये मुसीबत थी. But
Hmm.
but, but I studied in, I was studying in English. I told my mother and my parents told them that because my Urdu, of course, was the subjects like physics and chemistry was atrocious. So I was going on with my English. So, and I was like a star student because out of the entire lot, हमारी अंग्रेजी सबसे अच्छी थी. So I
Yeah.
was like,
This is
अंधों
very
में काने
interesting.
राजा, अंधों
This
में
is very
काने राजा थे. हाँ,
this is very this is true. But this is very interesting. I just imagine when you mentioned that you are your brought up was from like Lucknow and all that. I imagine your Urdu
yeah,
would be like really cool and you'd have
yeah.
this
Exactly.
like palace.
Yeah, my Urdu is very cool. It is still very Lucknowi because we originally migrated from Lucknow, which is the citadel of culture and Urdu language.
Hmm.
Exactly.
So and my mother was very very strict about pronunciations. I mean that's why living in Larkana we were quite lucky to have this school. And then my mother's English because she was also educated. Uh, in those days, it was even for girls it was difficult to they were basically from Ahmedabad, but my mother was educated in Lucknow, and she lived in hostel. So in those days, it was considered to be something very very what should I say preposterous. So, but her mother had put her foot down to send her, and one of my other aunt. So anyway, so अंग्रेजी इस लिहाज से बेहतर हो गई because my mother was also in English medium.
Hmm.
So that's how all of I have three sisters, three siblings. We are four siblings, three sisters and myself. And then we moved to Karachi much later because my mother was into politics. And very few women in those days would kind of, um, get into this territory of politics. For women, it was still considered to be a no-go area. But my mother was into politics, and in fact, probably she was the first lady to have contested elections from Narkana.
Hmm.
And this was the time when interestingly, my grandfather was supporting Ayub Khan. He was the chief organizer of what is it called, Conventional Muslim League, and my mother was in Council Muslim League. So she fought the elections against her father-in-law.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
in our home, the family was very, very divided. My chachas, and the family, they were all with my mother, while my dadi, who must be hating my mother, to going against her father-in-law. So she was in conventional Muslim League, and I I'm told, yeah, because when she was, and at that time, Mr. Bhutto Zulfikar Bhutto was a foreign minister, and he was a
Hmm.
blue-eyed boy of Ayub Khan. So when he came to Larkana, he tried to convince my mother to take that she should go. I mean, that she should support Ayub Khan, her father-in-law, who was the main kind of very very. Uh, he was he was organizing Ayub Khan's party, but my mother
mm,
was dead against Ayub Khan. So she went into elections, although she lost it, but
mm.
she made it. So our family has been very political in those times, but none of us got into politics. When we moved
I
to
think this is
Karachi,
Yeah, I think this is very interesting to note. I think your mother was so empowered by her own mother that she did not find it very difficult to be an opinionated person in the family or someone
no,
who
no,
could
no, he
hold her
wasn't.
opinions
It's
and
also like standing up against a dictator, which is like a huge deal if you think about it, no?
super
Uh,
cool.
yeah, yeah. And interestingly, my dadi, who used to live with us, she was hating the very idea of my mother going against her father-in-law. So anyone who would pass near the house, she would ask him in her very typical Lucknowi Urdu that, who are you going to vote? And if somebody would say that we'll vote for Begum Saab, So she would say, please don't, because women are incapable of running the government. So,
Oh,
so, so, and my father was completely apolitical. He had nothing to do with politics. But my mother was very much into it. And so Rija, we moved to Karachi in 70s because again, due to my mother's politics, because my mother was against People's Party, she was in Muslim League, so it was becoming difficult to live in Larkana, and so we decided to move to Karachi. Although I had moved earlier, and I was did my inter from here, and then I did my BSc, and then I worked for about a year or so for an advertising agency, and
that's very interesting because
then
I mean
I
we're both.
remember yeah, and then when I was I may be sounding a bit thumping my own chest. I wasn't all that hero like Haris you are. So anyway, I was since I was working with an advertising agency. So once I had gone for some koi kapdon ki koi something to do with the modeling. So the guys asked me there that why don't you model? So I was completely flabbergasted. I said, "You must be crazy," because I was short. I was not tall, dark, and handsome, but I was short, short, dark, and handsome, maybe. So I said, "Oh, my parents in the first place would never allow it." And secondly, I considered myself to be a very plain-looking guy. But now, when I look back at the old pictures, I see I wasn't all that bad actually.
Yeah, the
So
self perception was a bit distorted, I guess, but
yeah,
I think growing up, we
and
all experience this phase of ourselves when you're just like, oh,
exactly.
we don't really recognize how good we look. And once we are older and we look back and we're like, oh wow, so I used to look
yeah, yeah,
pretty good.
Should
yeah,
have like
yeah.
And
appreciated it more.
yeah, I think you
That's true.
by the time you were older, you probably realized why those guys asked you to model in the first place.
Yes. When I look at it, I said, no, I wasn't all that bad. I should have actually gone into it. But anyway, I
Yeah.
was I was destined to be a diplomat. So then I appeared for my civil services examination, and I got basically into accounts group and audit and accounts group. But while I was in the academy in Lahore, while we were undergoing training, um, I was from Sindh rural because my domicile, I was born and brought up in Larkana. So my domicile was from Larkana. So I was offered because many of my, batchmates, they were offered foreign service who were ahead of me, but they all turned down. I mean, they were in different services like customs, those were customs or accounts or police, or no, not in the police. But anyway, when it was offered to me, so I was also turning it down. But I said I must let my parents know. So I informed them, and my father said immediately join it. So I kind of tried to, cook up all kinds of excuses that I'm the only son. So my father said, if you don't join, don't come back to Karachi. Oh my God.
Oh,
I said, oh.
that
So
was
then I
dramatic.
called up my mother,
Yeah,
and my mother was even stricter than him. She said, do it immediately. I said, oh my God, why did I tell them?
yeah,
Yeah.
But
ambitious parents.
yeah, but then, in retrospect, I think what a wise decision it was. Because my
Mhm.
parents said, no matter, I mean, you are the only son, but your life is, I mean, you'll be leading your life. We are old and we'll pass out one day, but it is your life. And I have no regrets whatsoever. I had a
Mm.
great time in the Foreign Office. So this is, I've kind of condensed my story from how we moved from Larkana to Karachi and then to Foreign Office. Then I spent uh, about 32, 33 years in the ministry, and I was posted to my first posting was Saudi Arabia, Jeddah. Then I went for because you see, in and CS, when you do CSS, most of your colleagues are already um, have done their masters. So there were very few of us, just a handful, who have a kind of, were graduates, were simply graduates. So then I thought I must, burnish my academic credentials. So I decided to go for a scholarship, and I got a evening scholarship, and I went to SOAS, University of London, from where I did my master's in international politics. And so I mean, felt very, very happy about it. And then what? Then I was posted in Spain. Then I was posted in um, then I was posted in where was I posted? To Bangladesh, and then I was in France, and then I became High Commissioner to Kenya. That was my first ambassadorial, and then again I went to Dhaka. I've served in Bangladesh twice.
Hmm.
So am I talking too much?
No, no, this is very
No, no, this
interesting. We
is
are all ears. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'm
So
so interested. Like you were a evening scholar. This is amazing. So you must be one of the earliest ones.
I was there in 97, Rija, 97 to 98. I was doing my scholarship.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So I can tell you now, if you want me to continue, there are some very interesting stories about my postings. What happened with me and this is, uh,
Yes, yes, yes. We do have a few questions planned in that
okay.
direction.
Isn't it
But
You
better
can
you
for
ask
sure
me?
if you're on the flow of it already, please go ahead.
we can
So I
like
mean, I
ask you
can go
any
on.
questions in the end, and yeah, we if you can just
Okay.
like
So
yeah.
let me start off by my when I was in Pakistan. So I was in the ministry, and during my initial years, it was 1988 when my mother passed away. So I requested the ministry and I came to Karachi, and I served in the protocol office for nearly 3 years. And some very interesting things happened. Like one incident I would like to tell you was that once we were in the foreign office, at the camp office here in Karachi, we received a message that Queen Beatrix is landing in about 1 hour. And on her way from Singapore to she's going to The Hague. So that it was a very short notice. So governor was requested to receive her, and she'll be in the VIP room, the VIP lounge for at least an hour. So we immediately informed everyone, and when we reached the airport, myself and my boss, so the plane, while it landed, the captain from the plane said that no, she is not in the plane. She
Hmm.
dropped the ID and she's not in the plane. But by that time, we have lined up everybody in the uniform from line
Oh,
sweepers, everyone, to receive her at the tarmac. And thank God, mercifully, the governor was informed at the last minute not to bother. So we lined up like in a reception line to receive the queen, but there was no queen inside.
yeah, it must have
So
been like a huge protocol,
yeah, it was every time. So that's that was one thing. And the other thing was that was the place where I was offered, um, you know, like the foreign office. We used to do attestations of the people going abroad, especially students and
Yeah,
Hmm.
we
people
are in
going
the
to.
same boat right now. Like,
Yeah, और भाई वो बाहर एजेंट्स घूमते थे तो पहली दफा जो हमें ऑफर हुआ कि हम आपको विल पे यू every month. This is like 7 lakh
hmm,
rupees, and you just have to sign. And
per
I
month.
tell you, my legs were trembling. I said, नहीं आप कोई गलत काम नहीं करेंगे, आप सिर्फ हमें जल्दी दे देंगे.
Hmm.
And I was really, I threw them out of the office. I'd get lost. And the same thing, that was the first time, like government
Hmm.
service mein aapko, unfortunately, some services are notorious for that. But
Hmm. Like
corruption,
bribery.
like customs may, police may, administration may. I mean, there is a lot of corruption in these, what should I say? Uh, this
Institutes.
name is not getting to my mind. These institutions, anyway. So that was my first time, and from there um, I was very, one of our very dear old family friends, Shahryar Khan, who was our foreign secretary. We have very family relations with them because my grandfather and his grandfather were very, very close friends, and they were together in Aligarh Muslim University. So I wanted to get posted to India, which is a very important posting for any diplomat.
Hmm.
So I was, Shariar Sahab was there, and I got my posting orders. So while I was doing, waiting for my assignment, uh, I learned Hindi. So I'm fluent in Hindi. I can read and write Hindi. So that I learned. And so when before going to India, I said it would be nice if I know Hindi. Anyway, but something very, very serious happened. There were some serious charges of espionage laid against me. And
Oh.
yeah, so and besides, our ambassador Sattar Saab, a very senior diplomat and a very senior who became the foreign minister also. He said, no, it's not right that Rafi should come to Delhi. They said, why? He said, because more than half my family still lives in India. Two of my real aunts live in India. My mamu lives in India. So they said it will be difficult for us to handle it because the Indians will be after us all the time. And he will be, of course, he would like to meet his family. So it will become problem. So my whole thing was, kind of went to a knot. I never went to India. And then my first posting was Saudi Arabia and Jeddah. And Jeddah was like a can of worms. I can't tell you the amount of agents that used to loiter around our mission. It was, you
Hmm.
just cannot imagine. Again, there, I was offered a huge amount. I mean, unthinkable that I was offered to do these, illegal things. And again, turn them down. But one thing I still remember something. There was my colleague who was junior to me. There was this Afghan guy came, and the Afghanis would come for visas. We would issue them transit visa, enabling them to travel through Pakistan en route to Islamabad or wherever. So there was
Hmm.
this huge, gigantic Afghani came, and he asked me to give him the visas. And normally the practice was that we would issue them, they would submit their forms in the mission, and we would issue them the visa next day. But he was just, like a wild bully. He said, "No, I want it today." So
Hmm.
there was another colleague of mine who was basically from the army. So I asked him to please handle him. Thank God that I
Hmm.
asked him to do that. So
Yeah,
they
otherwise he
started
would have physically overpowered
arguing.
you.
No, no, not thank God. No, I was saved, Rija. But
Wow.
while the argument was going on, and we had a very small prefabricated office. So
Hmm.
I saw this huge, उसने एक घूसा के मुंह पे मारा मेरे colleague. And this whole little thing, uh, and this whole little thing, the office that was rickety, that it was very rickety and decrepit, जो आपस में लड़ाई शुरू हुई ना, there were like two giants, and I was like a Pakistani heroine नहीं होती फिल्मों की.
Damsel in distress.
And while fighting, they both entered into the main building, and he was holding his neck, and they were holding. So, and
Wow.
while they entered, so I picked up, and I was standing in a corner because my physique was such that I couldn't have, I would have died then and there. तो ये घूसा हमें लगता था. So I said, "Maro isko," like a typical Pakistani heroine जो होती है फिल्मों में, दरख्त के पीछे खड़ी. So I said, "Maro isko." While he
No
heard me
way.
saying, while he heard me saying that, he pulled the lamp from which was lying on the table, and he charged towards me. I said, "Oh my God, Inna
Oh.
lillahi wa inna rajiun." This is my end. And but then at that very point, I saw these shurtas, Saudi police, and so they all overpowered him. And this guy was, I still remember, and कभी कभी रात को आ जाता है ख्याल में तो I I wake up. So anyway उसको पकड़ के ले गया. So इस तरह के incidents होते थे. And I'm going to tell you something which is, I don't know which is politically correct or not. So there used to be interminable queues in front of us. तो फिर वो एक साहब बहुत दूर से इशारा telling me to receive him. So but when he came and he approached me, so I said, why he said, no, don't you know you are Urdu speaking? So I said, I am. So I am Urdu speaking also. So why weren't you letting
Yeah.
me come first? Then I, for God's sake, I've got nothing to do with MQM or Muslim League or People's Party. I'm a government servant. I want you to do this. No, but I'm from Karachi and I'm from MQM. So I said, you may be from anywhere, but I mean, you have to wait like you. And then there was this, while I was myself and another colleague of mine who was scrupulously honest. So we were entrapped into a plan and we were caught. I mean, they alleged that we had taken an abominable and obscene amount of rishwat from someone from the, and we were letting, uh, we were trying to create some, nasty thing in Saudi Arabia. So the inquiry was held against me, and I was the main culprit, and my other colleague. But I tell you, I must say that normally Pakistani community, which is very very uh, divisive, and there are always problems, but they came out in our support, in our support fully, Sikandar, and they supported us, and we were exonerated. Benazir was prime minister at that time. She sent a very high-powered delegation to inquire into the matter. So, but we were, thank God, exonerated. So this was Jeddah. And another interesting story is very funny, is that there was a delegation of judges which came to Saudi Arabia because हर एक आता था ना उम्रा करने. So Jeddah was
Hmm.
things I tell you. So I was asked to take care of the judges because Prime Minister was also visiting. So the ambassador and all, and I was a junior most officer at that time. So they were all involved with Prime Minister, but I was given the task by my ambassador to take care of them. And Nawaz Sharif was Prime Minister, and he had said that there shouldn't be any complaint. They should go very happy. So I was given the task to be with them. So I won't name the judge. So one of the judge who went to Medina, and when he came back, so I went to receive him. So, and when he came, he was sitting and he was looking very, very angry. So his registrar, who was very well known to me because his predecessor, was my uncle, and
Oh.
I've known everyone. So I asked him what happened. He said, "आपको पता नहीं है इनके साथ मदीना में क्या हुआ?" I said, "क्या हुआ?" उन्होंने कहा when you कुछ होता है ना एयरपोर्ट पे when you pass through that electric gate तो वो चू चू करके
Hmm.
बोलता है. So
Hmm.
he was wearing he had a pen in his pocket. So they asked him to remove him. Then they asked him to remove his wristwatch. And then they asked him to remove his shoes. So can well imagine the judge being humiliated in presence of his staff. And of course he was mad.
Huh.
Oh,
So I was sitting on the same sofa with him and he looked very, very angry. And at that time, I was very young and he was nearing his retirement. So he said to me, he opened his mouth and said, "Convey my displeasure to your ambassador." I said, "Gee, what happened?" So he narrated his tale of woes. And I was really, he said, and then you know what happened? The Saudi guy who was checking him and our staff in Medina were trying to convince them to please, he is our judge. So he said, how can he be a judge? Where is his dadi? How can
Oh.
what?
he is
That
a
was a
qazi?
sick burn.
He- yeah, he said he is a qazi. He said, how can he be a qazi? Where is his dadi? Where is
Yeah.
his beard?
Wow.
So, and my ambassador at that time, I can't tell you, he was a wonderful guy, but he was damn scared of Nawaz Sharif and anybody who was. But I made it a point to narrate this story in presence of our foreign secretary, Shahryar Sir. So when I went back to hotel and dropped him, so the ambassador was there. So I said, everything okay? I said, no, sir. And I painted a really horrible picture just to bug him. So I said, नहीं sir, वहाँ तो बहुत मसला हो गया. He said, what happened? So I said, वहाँ तो उनके साथ ये हुआ और उस सऊदी ने कहा कि इनकी दाढ़ी कहाँ है. So our foreign secretary, our Mia, I call him Mia. So he was in fits. He was just in fits. He said, Rafi, फिर से सुनाओ. So
Uh,
and the
Wow.
ambassador, And so the ambassador and Mia were batchmates. He said, आप आप हंस रहे हैं मियाँ? नवाज शरीफ साहब ने मियाँ साहब ने कहा है कि इनको I said नहीं उन्होंने कहा कि भाई, and then he said that guy the just imagine, the guy should be thrown out of the service, as if the Saudis would listen to us. So they said, Mia said, we will tell them that we'll tell the prime minister that we have approached the Saudi authorities and they have said, yes, we will throw them out. I mean, who is Nawaz Sharif is going to come and check whether that guy is in the
Exactly.
service or not? So that was the most funny thing that happened in Jeddah. And now I think you can, I need to break, otherwise I can go on ad nauseum. You can ask the questions in between.
Yeah. So, I mean, very interesting. Like some
There are
very
many more.
funny
there are many.
stories. Yeah.
There are many more to come. Yeah. So your
So
questions, please.
I think like we I mean you just covered like a lot of the things we wanted to ask about. But some of the things like you might have skipped, so we can just dive a little deeper into that. Uh, One is that I mean your grandfather, and if I'm not wrong, I think your grandfather has like this statue in Lok Virsa in Islamabad, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, 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 yes. In
Yeah,
fact,
because
too, his younger brother was Dr. Salimuzzaman Siddiqui. I don't know if you've heard of him or not. I'm sure you have. He was a
um
scientist, Dr.
yes,
Salimuzzaman Siddiqui.
yes.
Mm.
His statue is also there.
Yes, I
So,
think you told me about this, like your grandfather, and I went to the Lok Virsa, that museum, so I saw that there, and I
okay.
think I like took a picture because I wanted to like send it to you, but I forgot, or
Oh,
maybe I did, I don't remember.
okay.
It was like 2 3
Okay.
years back,
Okay.
yeah. So
Okay. I'll kill you
uh,
for that. Paris, you didn't send me.
I think I must have forgotten because I had that, because I saw
How
it and it
can
just
how
reminded me
can you
that you
forget?
it just reminded me like, oh, you told me about this, and
Okay.
that's like a big
Okay.
honor. I mean, like Lokwit side has like Gandhi and Jinnah and all those
Yeah.
people,
Yes.
so
Yes.
it's
Yes.
definitely like a big honor. So
Okay.
I mean,
Yes. Yes.
growing up like in such a family, I'm sure like it had like a lot of impact on your, like how you even perceived yourself or perceived life in general, because you
Yeah.
come from a family with such a big legacy.
Yes.
So like, is this something you were aware of, like conscious of growing up?
Not really, Haris, because when you are in your, when childhood or when even in your growing, and the other thing was that my parents never uh, kind of told us that, I mean, of course, it was a great honor, and I feel very honored that I belong to, mashallah, say this family, which is, my grandfather, then my grand uncle, Dr. Salim Uzama Siddiqui, and then my uncle, who was the Chief Justice of Pakistan, Justice Muhammad Halim, the longest serving Chief Justice. And he's the one, in fact, one of the there were three judges who had opposed the hanging of Bhutto. So he was one of them. And
That's interesting. Yeah.
Benazir really held him in high esteem. And when he passed away, she called and she asked her party walas that kon gaya, unke intikal mein kon gaya. So Nahid Khan, who was very close to her, she said, koi nahi gaya. So she was really mad at them. She said
Hmm.
immediately. So the Qaim Ali Shah and they all came over the next day. And because Benazir really was mad at them that nobody went. How can that be? He is the one
Hmm.
who had supported my father, and she would really regard him in high esteem. So, I mean, I feel, of course, very proud to belong to that family. But these things, because I've never seen my father or my puppies or chacha, लोगों में एक आ जाती है ना थोड़ी सी So people think that पता नहीं हम क्या है ना नाउजुबिल्लाह को खुद खुदा हो गए क्या हो गए. But that was, my family was extremely modest. My father, my puppies, my chacha, they never really talked about it. Although, whenever we would go to India, because my grandfather and Pandit Nehru were together in jail for 4 years in Lucknow. So they were very close because at that time my grandfather was in Congress and they were all, they were put up in jail by these British. And Nehru's father, uh, Pandit Motilal Nehru, they three
Hmm.
were together. So my father and my aunt would carry every day. They would take the food for my grandfather, and my grandfather was very fond of kebabs and all that. So they would eat that, and but Pandit Nehru was a vegetarian. He would not touch meat or anything. So his grandfather would eat it. I mean, his father was very fond of kebabs, typical Lucknowi kebabs, kachi keeme ke
Hmm.
kebab kehlate hain. So he would tell, and this is my father has written in his. He had written his very famous book. It's called Pathway to Pakistan. So he had mentioned that whenever we would eat, his father, Nehru's father, would tell him, "Come on, eat it. They are lovely, delicious." So he wouldn't. So he would
Hmm.
tell to my grandfather, "Arey ye banna hai, ye nahi khayega."
Uh,
So, and so whenever my father would visit India, Mrs. Gandhi would make it a point to invite him. And I
hmm.
remember meeting Mrs. Gandhi when we went to India in 1975. She invited us for lunch, but that very day, something very, the most important event in her life, she had imposed emergency. If you wouldn't know about
Oh,
it, you must be kid, or if you have read history.
yeah.
So
Uh,
she invited us. We couldn't meet her that day. So she came, she had gone to Banaras. She came next morning and we met her in her office. As a kid, I'd met Mrs. Indira Gandhi. And
that's
Mm.
the
that's
most
yeah, that's
stupid thing
interesting.
you can believe is since my parents were not interested in photographs, we never took a picture with her. That's my biggest regret in life. That
Oh
my
no.
parents were least interested in pictures and photography. आजकल तो लोगों को craze होता है ना. People are so fond of being photographed. कैमरे वाले के पीछे भागते हैं लोग. And my grandfather was a very camera shy politician. There are
Hmm.
very few pictures of him. When we see the old ones, there are very few pictures of him. So I mean, of course, I feel very take pride in the fact that I belong to that family. But this never came to my mind to kind of flaunt it. So that's how it is.
Makes sense.
Interesting. But I'm assuming like okay, so since you're mentioning that they were very modest people and they didn't like to flaunt it, especially to you as a kid, okay, so this is the family you belong to and all of that, which is a great thing
Yeah.
to kind of let your kid develop their own thoughts and things independently.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yes.
when you were younger, what
Yeah.
did you think about your life as like what would you what would your life look like as an adult? Like did you imagine it a certain way? Did someone ask you, oh, like what do you want to be when you grow up? What was your answer back then?
To be very honest, Rija, I wanted to be a doctor. But then, thank God I didn't become a doctor because I would freak out
Uh,
seeing blood and I would freak out seeing somebody being injected and somebody, I don't know, that could never be my cup of tea. So, in a way, but my father was very keen from the very beginning that I should join the service, whichever. But when I got foreign service, he was delighted. He was, because उस जमाने में ना foreign service, my parents' generation especially, they thought very highly of uh, foreign service. So
hmm.
he was
Mm.
very happy, and so was my mother. So, and then I kind of realized that, I mean, doctor बन के ज़्यादा unless I was not that genius. ना मुझे कोई इतना पढ़ने का ऐसा शौक था कि मेडिसिन में तो इतना पढ़ना पड़ता है. So
Mm.
that I decided to go for the service, and I got into foreign service. So Allah has been very kind to me.
See.
Yeah,
Um,
that's actually really interesting. Growing up, I also wanted to be a doctor. Interestingly enough, but for the
Yeah.
same reasons or maybe similar reasons, I opted out of it. But it's very interesting to note that you've always wanted to be on the public service side of things, or like like people, like a people facing role or something. So
Yeah.
that's very nice. And I'm sure that your parents were thinking of it in that sense because I think at that time also like Pakistan was very new, like a new kid in the on the block. So it was a very nice experience to be like in the foreign service. But how many countries have you worked in as an ambassadors? And like if you think back at your time in these different countries, what is like those simplest, the most small everyday memory that you cherish?
I think
There
I
are
think if we can just like
there are
kind of like go through it, like where did
yeah.
you go after the Saudi
Okay.
Arabia?
Okay. As I was telling you that my first posting was Saudi Arabia. Then I came back to Islamabad, and then I went for my evening scholarship, and then I came back, and then I was sent to Madrid, and Madrid was my second posting, and I just loved it. And I have two boys, mashallah say, and the younger one was born in Madrid. So Madrid is very special to me. And then again, Madrid was. I have some very interesting anecdotes about Madrid also. Um, when I went there, there was there was a political ambassador who was Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif's brother-in-law, Hamzul, जिसे कहते हैं ना. So his wife's cousin's husband, he was an old chap and he was suffering from mouth cancer. So when I saw him, I almost freaked out. He was in a very bad state. So, and I went like a bad news for him. I arrived in Madrid on 30th September, and on 11, and on 12th October, Musharraf ka coup ho gaya.
Oh,
So ambassador had to pack up his bags and
Oh
leave, and
no.
I became acting ambassador, and I was very young. So, and that was the time when the Spanish government opened immigration. And I can't tell you, there was a deluge of Pakistanis from all over Europe. They all turned up to Madrid. And our mission was very small. I mean, I was the only one at that time. And there was a commercial officer to handle. It was like a mob which had entered into the mission. And I still remember one guy, he was from, and everybody was from Mandi, Bahauddin, and Gujarat. The entire
oh,
Punjab was there. And my Punjabi was totally atrocious. I was a very kind of a suave, sophisticated diplomat and facing this rowdy crowd. So one of the guy once he came to me, and we were not issuing him the passport because he was a real criminal. So
oh,
he held me by my. He was wearing suit and looking very elegant. He just kind of held me by my throat and he said, if you don't issue me the passport, and then he did something so horrible. He just took off his pants and there was a big gash on his thigh. He said, मैं किसी को पाकिस्तान में मार के आया हूँ और मारना
oh,
मेरे लिए कोई चीज नहीं." I
this
said,
is
oh my
Oh
God,
my
crazy.
how many?
God.
So he said, I'll kill you if you don't. So I picked up the phone. I पता नहीं कैसे manage किया उसको निकाला, but then I asked the police, the local. Normally the police do not enter the missions because of diplomatic immunity. So I called
Hmm.
them. I said, ये हमें मार के चले जाएंगे आपकी diplomatic immunity को हम क्या करेंगे? हम तो कब्र में जाके लेट जाएंगे हमें हमें मार
Exactly.
दे. But
Yeah.
anyway, so there were thousands of them, and once I went to, but we issued passports. And then there was a big racket. One of my officer got involved in it, and it was a big issue. So, and when I used to visit Brussels. I mean, Brussels. I'm saying Barcelona. So I went to Barcelona and I met the mayor, and he was singing praises about Pakistanis. And I just couldn't believe my ears. It was like music to my ears. कोई पाकिस्तानियों की इतनी तारीफ कर रहा है. He said they are so hardworking and they are so honest. I mean, and my mouth fell open. I said, "What is he saying?" And then he narrated a story to me that there was this lady who was she was very elegantly dressed, carrying dripping with diamonds and emeralds and whatnot. And she said that she was talking to someone on phone. उस वक्त तक ये cells mobiles नहीं आए थे. So she was talking on that telephone booth, and these Africans, the North Africans, some Algerians and Moroccans, they pounced at her and ran off with her bag. So there were two Pakistanis. They were sitting there looking at this, and there's this area which is that they used to call it Pareshan Rambla. Rambla is the area in Barcelona where most
Hmm.
of the Pakistanis would be sitting and picking up grass. And so
Oh,
they just ran after him and they got the bag and gave it to the lady. So they became like heroes. So the mayor of Barcelona requested the president that every Pakistani should be given the residency. So they were
that's
thousands
interesting.
of them became legal in Barcelona. When I went there were just about 2 to 3,000 Pakistanis, and when I left, there were 70,000. So much so that
Oh,
Oh,
PIA started its
that's
flight
a
to
lot.
Barcelona. So it
It's
was
yeah,
like a
you
huge
massive.
managed a
influx.
very large mission on your own. That's very commendable.
I'm s- I'm sorry.
I'm saying you managed a very large mission on your own. That's
Oh
super
my
commendable.
God, it was. I can't tell you, Rajna. But
We
Alhamdulillah, it
did.
all thank God. और इतने and then again, लोग ऑफर करते थे कि भाई आप ये ले लीजिए, आप ये ले लीजिए और ये पासपोर्ट बना दीजिए. But अल्लाह का शुक्र है कि ऐसी कोई चीज, the family that I come from, I could never even imagine doing any such thing. And
Hmm.
Exactly.
then while I was in Madrid, I received my posting orders for Bangladesh. And Bangladesh is like has been following me the very start of my from my career. The first posting orders that came for me was for Bangladesh, but somehow it didn't work. And then when I was in where again Bangladesh, but Bangladesh was after me, and I tell you, I just love Bangladesh. I'm in love with Dhaka. I'm in love with Bengali people there. I mean, their art, their culture, their music, their dances, you name it,
Hmm.
and they have it. And I'm very fond of singing, by the way, and I sing. So I kept a music teacher for myself, and I learned Bangla. And I used to, every party, even if I was not asked to, I would sing. And have to
I hope
bear with
you
my
sing for us today.
horrible,
Something in
and I would
Bangla.
sing in Bangla. I would sing in Bangla. I learned Bangla and I would sing in Bangla. So I became quite, popular there. And since my grandfather had served as governor of East Pakistan in the early 50s, so many Bangladeshis knew my grandfather, the older generation.
Hmm.
And when they got to know that I'm his grandson, they would, I mean, I was invited by everyone, and they were so nice to me. So much so that, towards my career, my last posting of career was again in Bangladesh. I was sent to
Hmm.
Bangladesh again. And it was all the most challenging assignment, second time, because Sheikh Hasina was the prime minister. And you know
Hmm.
how she hated us because they
Yes,
still carried the political baggage of 1971. I mean, we have also, हमने भी कुछ गलतियां की हैं ना. We cannot
hmm.
exonerate ourselves or absolve ourselves from what we did. So anyway, so I was there for 3.5 years, and then I returned to Pakistan, and then I went to Paris, the most romantic capital of the world, the most beautiful capital.
Hmm.
In fact, I was being sent to Washington. I received my posting orders for Washington, but जैसे कि हमारा सिफारिश का culture होता है ना, और foreign office में भी है. So I was one of our very, very, I would say, a fine officer, Riaz Muhammad Khan. He was a foreign secretary. He picked me up for Washington. But then, somebody stronger on the political side, Gilani was prime minister at that time. So
Hmm.
one of my colleagues kind of managed to dump me, and she was sent to
Yeah.
Oh
Washington. I was going
no.
as yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's nothing. And then I was offered another posting, which I said no. London, I said no, I don't want to go to London because वहाँ तो सारा वक्त यानी इन लोगों के हम ये जो political लोग आते रहते हैं ना, मुस्तकिल ministers and
Uh,
MNAs with their demands, absolutely. जो हम कर नहीं सकते. So I said, no, I don't want to go to London. So then I was offered Paris. So Paris was kind of a compensation in place of Washington. So Paris was wonderful. And again, the Paris is Sare Mandi Bahauddin or Gujarat and Punjabi. Punjabis, I must say, are very, very hard-working people, and
Mm-hmm.
they have really moved their way. और बहुत मेहनत करते हैं और बहुत अपना उन्होंने नाम बनाया हुआ है और बहुत उसे यानी और ईमानदारी से काम करते हैं. So I
Hmm.
have had this wonderful friends from Pakistani community, and then there was and the other important point in Paris was that it had this UNESCO. So I was alternate permanent delegate to UNESCO also. So that was very interesting. And I'll tell you something again, जो ये रिश्वत का बाजार है ना ये सारी दुनिया में गरम है, not only in Pakistan. I won't name the country, but I was offered, the guy came and he was an ambassador, I wouldn't name, and he asked me. I mean, we had to do a voting. There was a voting and a secret vote. So he said to me, and I was the one representing. So he said, "This is a checkbook. Any amount that you can think of that can come to your mind, just write it,
Oh my, that's
and we'll
insane.
arrange. Or if you want to buy an apartment in Paris." Oh my God, I said, I just couldn't believe it. So I said, no, I'm sorry, I will never be able to do it. I will never go against my government's instruction. हालांकि government को पता भी नहीं चलता अगर हम तो वोट डाल के आ
Mm-hmm.
जाते, because it was a secret ballot. तो उसमें किसी को पता नहीं चलता है. So
Hmm.
this was something which I still remember, and I feel that, and many of my colleagues, when I tell them, they said, Rafi, तुमसे बड़ा गधा कोई नहीं. Why didn't you accept it? I should have. So these things happened in Paris, and
So,
great
But
place to
uh,
be.
but
yeah, like,
you're like you have a very strong moral compass.
Rija, again, I would say that the way I've been brought up by my parents and by my family, I mean, I couldn't even think of doing any such thing. I would have felt so bad about myself, even if
Yeah.
I had. लोग करते हैं भाई दुनिया में, लेकिन हम
mm,
we are cut from a different cloth.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I I think if you can also tell us a bit like what kind of projects you worked on in UNESCO.
UNESCO, yeah, UNESCO basically, as it says, that's about education and social. So we would always, it would come from Pakistan, कि कहाँ पे क्या करना है. तो like with regard to the um, ये जो सैलाब आया था ना, it was 2010, I think, when we had the entire Sindh and Pakistan was drowned in this floods and all that. So उसमें UNESCO helped us a lot.
mm,
And was and that was the time when I also President Zardari's parents used to live. They would come and spend their summer times in Normandy. They had a beautiful chateau in Normandy, and
mm,
Mrs. Zardari was very fond of me. She had
yeah,
she was the daughter of Zede Bukhari, the famous Zede Bukhari,
yeah.
and a
Hmm.
very literate lady. She's a very literate lady. She was very, very fond of me. And she told me, she invited me and she said, you are the first diplomat who has come to my house. And I never, and they would keep to themselves. वो अपना airport पे उतरते थे, they would take the cab, although the son was president, and they would go to Normandy. And
Mm,
so she would invite me, she would come to me. And because she was very friendly to my granduncle, Dr. Salimuzzaman Siddiqui, not she, but her father, Zede Bukhari.
mm,
So because when she heard my name, she said, what's your name? So when I told her, so she asked me, by any chance, are you related to Dr. Salimuzzaman Siddiqui? So I told her, yes, he's my granduncle. Oh, she said, you have to come to me, visit me. So she invited me, and I would always go. Whenever they would visit Paris, I would always go and meet them, and she would also come and visit me. at my apartment in Paris. So, and then the other most important thing that happened was the visit of Abdul Sattar Edhi to
Oh,
Paris.
that's
He had come to
interesting.
collect an award. UNESCO had given him an award. So he came, and I tell you, when I went to receive him, and Paris was freezing. And when he came out of this plane, he was wearing those ordinary chappals and
Huh.
let's say shalwar pajama and not shalwar pajama and kameez and so I told him, "Bahar to itni sardi hai, aap chappalon." He said, "No, no, it's okay with me." And so that was a wonderful time that I had with him. I invited him over for dinner, so that was the most momentous occasion for me that he came and had dinner with me, and I spent about 3 4 days with him. I can never forget those. And yes, the other thing I will tell you, the famous actor Dilip Kumar, Indian actor.
Yeah, yeah,
I was I was attached with him for 5 days. He
No
and his wife,
way. How
Saira
so?
Banu. This was in Karachi, by the way, when I was serving here in protocol. Mia Saab had Mia Nawaz Sharif had invited him, and they were, honoring him with that highest civil award. So he stayed over
hmm,
in Karachi for 5 days. So I was attached with him, and I
that's
just can't tell you what a great man he is, and his wife also, Saira Banu. Saira Banu's father and my father were very friendly in
hmm.
India. So
Hmm.
I had a wonderful time with Dilip Kumar and Saira Banu for almost 5 days here in Karachi.
Wow.
That's one thing which I can never ever forget.
I think like um you have like I think you have like a lot of passion for arts and culture
Oh,
and literature,
I
all
have,
these things. Yeah. So,
I have.
and like we just talked about, I was thinking like when you said that when you were leaving, I mean you didn't go, but you were like planning on leaving for India, so you learned Hindi, and then
Yeah,
when you went to Bangladesh, so you learned Bengali and you learned
yeah. Just the
so.
songs, Haris, just the songs. But I could read Bangla a bit because it's very similar to Hindi.
Mhm. Yeah, it's the
But
same
Hmm.
script. Yeah.
I can't speak or I can't read or write. But
Mhm.
I'm very much into music, Bangla music.
Would you sing a song for us?
Oh, oh,
So
Kala Asma, Bilkul Bacha.
I think before,
Okay, I may just sing a line or two. I think I don't know.
Yes, please,
But please,
please, please, please.
that's
Amazing. That
so
was so
nice. That's
nice.
so
What does
nice.
it
Yeah.
mean?
huh?
What does this mean? The lyrics? What does
It
it mean?
means that you are mine, that you are mine. Tumi je amar.
Oh, that's such a beautiful
Yeah,
language.
It
they
really
are
is.
beautiful. And their music is absolutely divine. Absolutely divine. And Runa
Um,
Lela, have you heard of Runa Lela?
yeah, Runa Lela. Yes,
Yes,
I
yes.
mean, she has
Runa
also
Lela
used to
and
sing
Shabnam.
Urdu.
Runa Lela and Shabnam are my, best friends. In fact, just before I was talking to you, and Runa Lela keeps sending me very funny jokes on
That's
WhatsApp.
that's
She sent
amazing.
me
Yeah,
something
she's a legend.
yeah, she just sent me something very funny. Haris, I'm going to share with you. And
But
Shabnam is a very dignified lady and extremely dignified.
so I'm sure you have like listened to her perform live so many times. Like you're
Yes,
close
yes,
with her.
something very in my last posting, something very incredible happened. I never share my birthdays and but since
Hmm.
we are friends on Facebook, so once I invited her, we were showing old Pakistani films of Shabnam and the songs by Runa. So when we invited Shabnam and Runa Lela as chief guests, so when she entered into the High Commission, she was carrying a huge bouquet and
Hmm.
she went to the rostrum and said, does anybody know that this is today is High Commissioner's birthday? So
Hmm.
everybody, because I never told anyone, I said, well, so this budhape mein kya birthday manaye? So,
Wow, she
so
celebrated you.
then she sang happy birthday for me. So I said, Runa, ऐसी birthday तो जिंदगी में कभी नहीं मनाई गई. I was, in my life also, my parents also never believed in birthdays. My father would in fact, कि क्या बड़ी बात है birthday? लाखों, million, billion लोग पैदा हो रहे हैं, मर रहे हैं, तो इसमें कौन सा ऐसे बड़ी बात है कि आप पैदा हुए?
But if
So that's why, but that was my birthday. She celebrated it and she sang. So I was very, very happy, overwhelmed completely. So Bangladesh ka ye tha. This was my
so,
last posting just when I was on the verge of my
hmm,
retirement.
like, I mean, you're friends with all these people because you yourself have like this appreciation for music and art.
Yes, yes,
Like,
yes.
where do you think you acquired this appreciation? Like, were your parents into arts and music a
I
lot?
actually, yes, no, actually my mother, the singing thing, I think I inherited it from my mother. Me and my sisters, we all very fond of singing, and my mother had a beautiful voice. So she used to sing. So my father had, was, and she was very much into appreciating, she was socially and politically the most active
Hmm.
um, lady of her time. So I think I got it from my mother. But this art and paint, I'm very fond of paintings and art and all. This I think I've inherited from my grand uncle, Dr. Rafiuzzaman Siddiqui, who was an artist, who was a great painter, who was a great singer, who was a great, everything. The linguist, he was
What an
probably.
all-rounder.
Uh, Dr. Salima Zaman Siddiqui had a very all-rounded, well-rounded personality. He
And he
was
was
not
like
only a
a
scientist,
scientist. No, I think he was
Yeah,
a
yeah, I think he
chemist.
biologist,
he he,
chemist.
he did like his he had a lot of work related to like neem and the benefits of like
Yes,
the
yes, yes.
antifungal, antiviral,
Sunflower,
antibacterial properties.
sunflower.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Or,
and sunflower as well.
and do you know that yeah, and do you know that the ink, the indelible ink, which is used in elections, which they put on your thumb,
Yes,
Yes.
it was invented by him.
Oh,
that's amazing.
it's actually amazing.
Yes,
Yeah,
and I was reading, and somebody in India had written a very interesting piece of him saying that they should name it what that Salim something by his name that this ink should be named after his name that which
definitely. Yeah.
indelible
It
ink
should
which doesn't go
be.
away.
It
And by
should
the
be.
way,
It's such a
yeah, and let me tell you, my grandfather's eldest brother, his name was Samiuzzama. He never came to Pakistan.
Hmm.
He died in Lucknow only, and he
oh,
was one of the greatest, painter of Mughal miniatures. He was the student of Abindranath Tagore, who was the younger
Oh.
brother of Rabindranath Tagore.
Hmm.
Some of his paintings are, his miniatures are classic, and they are in museums in New Delhi, in Kolkata, in London, in Paris, and in New York. Some of his work was exhibitions were held there.
That's very interesting. I think
wow.
we should also kind of get links to these articles and those
Yeah,
images if we can find and kind of link it
yeah,
down in
yeah.
once we
And
post this.
his son who lived with us in Larkana. Haris, I have got his paintings, and I will send you his pictures, which you can share with Rija. But I think Rija is also
Yes,
with
please.
me
Yes.
on, so I'll share those with you. He was. I just can't tell you what amazing paintings he had. He
Hmm.
was expert in painting birds.
Oh, wow.
Birds, yeah, beautiful birds. So I think I haven't had this. It probably runs in the family.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. What a unique intersection between like painting birds isn't like painting like
Yeah,
like scenery or something that's
yeah,
nearly
yeah,
abstract. You have to be very
and
exact with these
yeah,
proportions and like the talons
yeah,
and the beak. So
yeah,
all of that, I think that's something that's a very unique intersection to science and art again. I think
Yeah,
very similar
yeah.
to
And
Salim Siddiqui as well.
yeah, yeah. Even Dr. Rafiuzzaman Siddiqui, his first earning in Germany was from paintings. He would do from the charcoal.
That's
Oh.
interesting.
Yeah,
That's very
yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
So, um, yeah, I think we can, like, you told us about your stay in Paris, and did you go back
and
to Bangladesh after Paris, or
yes,
uh,
yes. You know, my last posting, when my first assignment as ambassadorial assignment was Kenya. And Kenya is a place out of this world. I can't tell you the natural beauty. And of course, the animals, the safari.
mhm.
Yes.
Kenya was and the best thing about Kenya is the weather. It is the most salubrious weather. You know, there's no concept of AC or pankhon ka concept hi nahi hai Nairobi mein. There are no
Mm.
ACs
It's
and no fans
interesting. Yeah.
in Nairobi. Yeah, the weather remains beautiful round the year, beautiful round the year. And then East Africa, I was also accredited to Rwanda, Uganda, Eritrea, and Burundi. So I went to all these places except Burundi, and Rwanda, you know, is heaven on this earth
Oh.
and the cleanest country that I've ever been to. You cannot imagine. Rwanda may
That's
people
interesting.
are,
Yeah.
you know, when I met the president and I met the foreign minister and and the officers, they would say, I mean, Rwanda was known for its genocide about 2 decades ago, 2.5 decades ago. They had killed more than
Mm.
800,000 people in 100 days between the two tribes, you know, Tutsis and what's the other one? I'm
Oh.
forgetting the uh, anyway. And the president is amazing, although he has also become like a dictator now,
Mm.
Paul Kagame, that every last Saturday of every month, the entire nation comes out with president in the vanguard. They clean the country. They take part in cleaning
That's
the country.
interesting.
Oh, wow.
You won't एक तिनका आपको रवांडा में नजर नहीं आता है. It
Hmm.
is spotlessly clean, probably
It's
cleaner than
hard to
Singapore.
hear these kind of like positive things about
Yeah,
these
yeah. Once I
African
was,
smaller countries
yeah,
in
yeah.
mainstream media. They just don't tell you these things, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, you are right. Once I was listening to some discussion here, and these stupid, I'm sorry to use this word, but many of these guys who come on TV, and one of the anchors said, क्या है हमारा मुल्क रवांडा जैसा हो जाएगा? I said, अल्लाह करे रवांडा जैसा हो जाए. यहाँ तो बुरा हाल है. And they had no idea what Rwanda is. They thought that Rwanda is back of beyond, पता नहीं क्या गंदा तरीन मुल्क होगा. But for God's sake, I said, अल्लाह करे रवांडा जैसा हो जाए.
बिल्कुल दुआ करेंगे
It
हम
is,
ये.
when
Yeah,
I
I
entered
really
into the,
like.
There's also like there's also this picture of you, and there's all like this is like this parade kind of thing going on. Um, I don't know if you remember. I mean, I would have
yes,
showed you,
yes, I
but
do.
there's
No, how is this? This is when I was presenting my credentials to the president. It was guard of honor that was being given to me.
that's interesting. Yeah. So there's like a whole parade going on.
Yes, yes,
Um,
yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yes.
really
So
interesting.
all this
Yes.
East Africa is, I can't tell you how beautiful East Africa is.
Yeah, it really looks very beautiful, especially in the picture that Haris is talking about. He showed it to me as well. It's such a nice, like it almost gives like, I don't wanna compare it to Pakistan, but it almost gives like Nathia Gali, Skardu vibes, with like
Yeah.
those like
Oh, it is
skirts.
In
so
northern
beautiful.
areas, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
So
beautiful.
beautiful, beautiful
And
country.
yeah,
Uh,
beautiful
you
country.
spent it. You spent time, like, since we're talking about, like, the positive things about the different countries you've been in. What is the most like interesting cultural experience you had in all the countries you've been?
The best cultural experience as far as concerned, Bangladesh takes the cake.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yes.
Like in terms of
भाई
art
उनके
and music.
सबसे बड़ी चीज तो उनका
Hmm.
म्यूजिक, फिर उनकी लैंग्वेज, फिर उनके यानी आर्ट जो है, दैट आर्टिस्ट आई हैव स्पेंट I blew up my money on buying paintings from Bangladesh.
Hmm.
Such a lovely, paintings and
Yes.
only very rich history, the way, so far their culture is concerned.
And there's also this thing like the dynamics between, of course, Pakistan and Bangladesh. It's very complex. Like the whole
Yeah,
history has been.
Since I've already spoken about, Africa and Paris and Madrid and all these places, but when I retired, when I returned to, Pakistan, Islamabad, my last posting in the ministry was additional foreign secretary for Europe. So
Hmm.
while I was, working there, my foreign secretary, who is of course retired also, Izaz Chaudhry, he called me and he asked me to pack my bags again. So I said, "Where, sir?" So he said, "We have decided to send you to Bangladesh." So
Hmm.
this was I was going there for the second time. I served there twice. So I said, "Why, sir?" Because there was not much time left in my retirement. It was just about 2 years. So I said, "It's going to affect my children's education." So he said, "No, Rafi, it is important that you go." Anyway, so I went to Bangladesh for my second assignment. And it was like, I mean, politically speaking, it was terrible for us because Awami
Hmm.
League was in the government, Sheikh Hasina was ruling the
Mm.
country. And normally, when you present credentials, I mean, the things that the president said to me, my legs were trembling. I could never ever imagine that normally, no matter how bad your relations are, your credentials is like a formality, it's a ceremonial thing, and it is uh, done in a very nice way, no matter how horrible your relations may be. But I mean, they did not spare me even on the occasion of the what do you call it, the credentials. And then, but I was sent especially because of my familial connection that my grandfather was there. I had served there before, and they knew that Bangladeshis were very fond of me. Normally, they take very long time in issuing the agreement. Agreement is, you know what agreement is?
Not
Not
exactly.
aware.
No, Agrimo is like when ambassador is posted to any country, you send his name and his credentials, and then you wait for the government to approve it. So normally Bangladesh
Okay.
Hmm.
would take long in issuing Agrimo, but in my case, they issued it immediately.
Because
So
of
I
your
went,
history and
yeah,
relationships.
because they knew my background and they knew that I have been to Dhaka and I have been very close to Bengalis. So anyway, I went to Bangladesh and it was a total change of scene, infrastructurally speaking. Bangladesh had really developed. When I'd gone on my first posting, it looked, poverty really stared in your face. But this
Hmm.
time things had improved. I mean, Sheikh Hasina, whatever you may say, had done something, although she made tons and tons of money for herself and her family and all that.
Yeah.
But and she was ruling by an iron hand. Opposition ka to, they couldn't even imagine opening their mouths. And
Hmm.
Pakistan was a pariah. We were there like betanoid. They could not stand Pakistan. And every function that I would go to, or every party, not party, but any official thing, they would make it a point to run down Pakistan, and they would,
Hmm.
bring up issues which were really, really irritating. But of course, being a diplomat, we are trained in a way that we do not really react to that. Except for once, what happened was that I was, we had this Facebook of our High Commission. So one morning when I went to the office, I received a phone call from the DG of the South Asia who deals with Pakistan. And he said that please come. So I was summoned. And when I left, and I said, why, for what? So they said there was this program on your Facebook in which, Mujibur Rahman Shami is a leading journalist. He was doing
Yeah.
some program on 71 in which they mentioned that Pakistan was, Bangladesh was created by General Zia Rahman, Khalida Zia's husband. Oh, this was like committing a blasphemy in Bangladesh.
Hmm.
So I was summoned, and the foreign secretary was sitting in a very, very somber mood and gave me dirty looks. And normally, when they make you sit in a VIP room. But this time when I went, since I was summoned, There was a big room in which I was made to sit, and there was a table lying in front of me with a big king size picture of the surrender of 1971.
Oh,
So
that was
that was
intentional.
put right, yeah, that was put right in front of my face. So when I went to see the foreign secretary, so he said, "You," and he gave me, I mean, that I just can't tell you. I mean, in diplomacy, you never kind of lose your patience away that अगर हम भी Indians को बुलाएंगे या Indians हमें बुलाएंगे तो probably वो भी ऐसा नहीं करेंगे जो Bangladeshis कर रहे थे. So
Hmm.
he said what not to me, and anyway, and he gave me a note, just called ad memoir, and saying this program you can, and Pakistan is a, yeah, what did he say? That Pakistan has not learned its lesson, and it's a nation of liars. Oh
Hmm.
my God, I was fuming, but I just kept my cool, and I came back and I reported Cypher, the famous Cypher. Imran Khan has made Cypher
Cypher,
very
yes.
popular in
Uh,
Pakistan. So, and
yeah.
everybody knows what Cypher is. So I immediately sent a Cypher, and I asked the foreign secretary, who was a lady, the first lady, Tahmina, that we should immediately reciprocate, but still we maintained our cool. So these kinds of things were happening. But what happened? But I would also quote another incident that when Sheikh Mujib was killed on 15th August 1975, and he is buried in his native village. What's it called? The name is not coming to my mind. So they would take all the ambassadors there on helicopters to lay wreath and pray for him. So that day it rained cats and dogs because Bangladesh's rains are horrible. So I decided to go and lay the wreath at his memorial in Dhaka where he was killed. So when I arrived there, and I informed the chief of protocol that I would like to come. So he said to me that please come quickly because prime minister and president they also go. So I arrived there, and when I arrived, of course, with the Pakistani flag on my car, the cameraman and all congregated around me, and they said they got to know that I'm the high commissioner, so they started taking pictures. And next
Hmm.
day, it was printed in all the newspapers. You wouldn't believe the collage. There were president, prime minister, and Pakistan's high commissioner. So, and Indians
Wow.
just couldn't believe it because Indians were doing all the dirty work there. So
Yeah.
and then I started receiving phone calls from many Bangladeshis that Rafi, you have created history today in Bangladesh
Hmm.
by by laying the wreath and by. I said yes, of course. We have accepted, we have recognized Bangladesh. It is a sovereign country being ruled by
Bilkul.
the daughter of the father of the nation. So why not? And after 2 days, there was a horrible piece written on me by someone, of course, or engineered by the Indians, saying
Of
that
course.
how dare, how dare the High Commissioner goes and lays the wreath there, and they have not apologized to date, and he has an audacity to this. That. So many many colleagues in the High Commission they asked me, "Sir, we should immediately." I said, "No point to issuing any rejoinder. This will be keep on coming and going. So let's stay there. ये भी एक point of view
Yeah.
है. Let's admit it." So this is how it was. The posting was really tough. The Bangladesh second time, but the people were very nice to me. I had number of
Like,
friends, and they were all very sweet to me. So I enjoyed it. I just said, okay, fine. They can
But
they can do whatever they want.
yeah. Yeah, but it's easy
Yeah,
to understand why they were so adamant on sending you of all people because only you could have
yeah,
managed that like politically
yeah.
charged situation so well.
Yes.
Looking at your history
Uh,
and everything.
I'm sorry for patting my own back and sounding a bit pompous. So please excuse me for that.
No, no,
no,
no.
I think you deserve it. So, yeah, I think you definitely deserve it. You have like served Pakistan for so many years and like in tough conditions, like these. So yeah, you definitely deserve that.
That too without going against his moral code, which is a big
Yeah.
thing.
So there's
Yeah.
also like with you mentioned this that the last time they asked you to move to Bangladesh. you said that it might be a problem, for your family, for your kids. So like
Yes,
in
yes, yes.
general, how is it? Because you're always moving from one place to another, one country to another. How was that like for you, your family, your kids?
I think, Haris, it's very, very interesting because you see, you move from one country. Uh, Saudi Arabia was totally different from Spain. Spain was totally different from Bangladesh. Kenya has its own, and all these countries are very different. The most important thing when you are with your family is education. And since I must give credit to my ministry that our children are made to study in best of schools, and they also learn so much from
Hmm.
from but this experience is also very good for them too. And for me, I always loved it. I always enjoyed. And there was a time when I hated going abroad. And then the time came when I hated coming back to Pakistan.
Makes sense, yeah.
Also
So
because of monetary reasons, because there you are paid in dollars, and when you come back, you are
exactly,
paid in rupees.
you have to take pennies.
Hmm, makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Uh,
but right now, like you have two boys and they're settled in London.
Yes, I have two boys. My elder one is working already since last 4 years in London, and my younger one, who just finished his graduation from Exeter, will be rejoining in September to complete his masters. But
Y-
I found London this time quite dirty, by the way, and especially when you go from Dubai. Dubai glitters.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, like
yeah, I think.
industrial jungle.
I'm
What do you?
sorry.
Yeah, Dubai has it's just like this hub of like tourism, and
Oh,
they made it to glitter,
yeah.
and you know
Yeah, so clean, neat, and London was dirty.
this is interesting. Why so? Like, was it just trash in general, like New York types,
Yeah.
or something else?
No, no. This time I found it more because I remember when I came out of the tube and I was walking with my son, I saw this pile of dirty clothes
Hmm.
outside the bin and litter everywhere. I said, "What's happened to London?"
Oh no.
I
And
think
they
I've
said, "This
seen
is
people
unfair."
complaining about this on the internet as well. Yeah.
So they were saying normally we thought that the Asian areas where Asians, Pakistani, Bangladeshis, and Indian lives, but in general, I found it very, even Oxford was not all, but London has its own character and its own charm, which of course, despite with all its pitfalls, it cannot be taken away from it.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. So, just wanted to ask, since like like you now your kids are also like starting their own lives, and you're also like now retired. So, how does it feel that after a lifetime of such high level work, such a busy life, how was your
Oh,
transition to retirement like? Was it difficult to
ac-
adjust?
yes, actually, just since I retired, I've been working. I've been working for a private company as a consultant for a few years, and now I'm working with the Sindh government and in the ombudsman's office as advisor. So in that way,
Mm,
I've kept busy myself. But to be very honest, I miss ministry and I miss my work and I miss the life of the foreign office.
mm.
Yes.
I can imagine. But what does a typical day look like for you now? Is it different, or like is it the same? What do you enjoy now? Do you have any quiet passions or hobbies? Like maybe like, do you enjoy
Yes,
yeah.
as I also my hobbies is that I started writing about my memoirs. But since last 2 years, all this that I have told you, I've already written. But since last 2 years, I have not touched it. I don't know, एक mood होना जरूरी है when you write. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to go back to it. And every day I said, oh, kal se likhunga. From tomorrow I'll begin
Yeah.
it. And that tomorrow is not coming actually. I
I
have
think that
narrated, I have put it all through
momentum
films.
matters. Once you start, so
Momentum
it's easy to keep going.
Yeah,
matters.
and also like, you
Yeah,
need to be
yeah,
inspired. Like maybe like some, like your writer's block would go
yeah,
away if you like, maybe hit something that you genuinely feel like, okay, this is something that
yeah.
connects with something in the past, and now I want to kind of
Yeah,
write about that
Maybe
connection.
yeah.
this
In
conversation can
fact,
be
I
like,
would like,
can you bring back that inspiration to write, you know?
yeah. And unless and until you are not in mood, you will not write. I mean, if it, unless your heart is into it, you will not write. So every day I plan. In fact, I'm just tomorrow planning that I'll take my laptop with me and I'll start tomorrow. And every morning when I get up, I say, "Oh, choro, kal karenge." So that is not happening.
Yeah,
That's not.
that's like a common thing that happens. Um,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I think this episode is definitely going to help because see, you are already like kind of recollecting um,
yeah,
Yeah, maybe
your
in that
memory.
headspace again.
Yeah, so maybe this can help. Yeah,
yeah. So ये है. This is the story of my life.
that was very interesting. We also wanted to ask you this question. Like we ourselves are now kind of planning to, you know, move out for studies out of Pakistan. So, and you have
Yeah,
spent
yeah,
like so much time outside.
yeah,
You left like when you were very young.
yeah.
Is there like any advice that you would like to give to, you know, such people who are about to like leave their home and kind of
Yeah.
uh, go out to
Very
pursue their
simple.
dreams?
Yeah. To be very honest, Haris, अब मेरे अपने खुद के बच्चे बाहर हैं तो मैं किसी को क्या ये एडवाइस करूं बट my I feel that the other thing which is that my children are British nationals, so I would recommend the young generation, people like you and Rija, who are so smart, mashallah, say, you should also try and pursue your careers in the civil services. Because इस तरह के
Hmm.
लोगों को की बहुत जरूरत है पाकिस्तान को. And I'm sure with your kind of education and your kind of academic background, you will definitely, like, I'm so happy to see young people in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the young officers, they are very good. MashaAllah, say when those who used to work with me when I was additional foreign secretary, my DGs, my directors, my junior officers, they were all so good that I would always feel कि Pakistan का future है because these guys are very good. And I'm sure. And the other thing, we keep talking about brain drain. Only
Exactly.
just we do, our the field marshal was talking about it, that he said it's a brain gain, and you see so many people who. And the problem with Pakistan is that एक हम लोगों में एक I think things have improved, are improving. I see, and after, especially after this Indian episode with us, the Pahalgam thing has kind of made Pakistan just endeared to many countries who we were considered to be like, ऐसे ही हैं ये सब. But अब green
Exactly.
passport की
थोड़ी सी
कदर
अहमियत
हो
बढ़
रही
गई
है,
है हाँ
especially in the Middle East region, especially outside. And Trump का तो पता ही है ना, Trump सुबह को कुछ कहता है शाम को कुछ, but he's been
100%.
exactly
bashing India left, right, and center. Huh?
Yeah,
Since
yeah.
that 4-day war has should have taught them a lesson. And because their expansionist designs, especially in the nukes and conventional arms, but see how we push them back.
Hmm.
इससे हम लोगों की एक बहुत इंटरनेशनल कम्युनिटी में एक वो हो गई है. एक तो हमारे यहाँ ये जो पॉलिटिशियंस है ना, ये बहुत तबाही लगाते हैं. आई एम सॉरी टू से दैट, आई मीन आई विल से दैट पीटीआई वालाज आर, मतलब कम से कम इंडिया के वक्त पे तब हुआ था, उस वक्त तो हर चीज में पॉलिटिक्स को नहीं ठूसना चाहिए भाई.
एग्जैक्टली
Hmm.
वो एक
हाँ,
बहुत ही गलत वो कहते हैं ना एक लो
हाँ,
ब्लो टाइप चीज थी हाँ
हाँ.
Exactly.
मतलब इस लेवल पे you shouldn't stoop to a level where you started kind of, I heard someone saying that it is a क्या कहते हैं उसे उर्दू में भी, ये लोग एक कौन सी नूरा कुश्ती हो रही है. I mean, can you
हाँ
believe it?
it's like
I mean,
taking
this was
advantage
ridiculous.
of the like if it's if it's a war going on and obviously your country is getting hurt, but
Yeah,
you're kind of taking advantage of that.
मतलब बाहर जा रहे हैं हाँ, लोगों से पैसे नहीं भेजो. I mean, this is what are you doing? You have every right to oppose the government. You have every right to criticize them. You are at liberty to do, say and do, but not on international issues. अब ये जो लोग बाहर जाके बैठ गए हैं और पाकिस्तान की bashing वहां से करते हैं, which I find is quite, quite abominable. This is but it's sad. I hope, but I'm very optimistic about our future, inshallah. I
Inshallah.
think
I
that
feel
things
like you're
will
right. The
come.
people who are entering the civil services now, they're really
Yeah,
passionate about, actually
yeah,
shaping up the future of
yeah,
Pakistan. And I think this is
yeah,
a very positive note that we should
yeah.
end the podcast at. It was a beautiful, beautiful uh, conversation that we had with you today. And we would really want to
Thank
like
you.
thank you for the time that you spared for us. And just wanted to appreciate that your openness to share so many different experiences that you've had throughout. So what did you think? Wasn't it so cool to have someone who is like like post retirement period, who's just like kind of like exploring life and what can be done after, like like the busiest part of the life is over.
That was just amazing, yeah. That was amazing. And he has like so many interesting stories
So many,
and
such an interesting personality.
exactly such an interesting personality. Um, I mean, he said that he was talking a lot, but I mean, I loved it when he was just talking about things. We might have not even asked about a lot of things if we were, intervening too much. So I'm just happy that he opened up so much. And
Yeah, I think he covered a lot because we were able to let him get into that flow of things, and maybe without even knowing it, he covered a lot of the topics we wanted to initially cover when we were
exactly,
planning to start.
exactly, that's true. So yeah, I had like so much fun, and it was very insightful, and at the same time, it was very fun.
Thank you for tuning in today, and until next time.